Hi, everyone. So this is The Real Talk with Claudia Mostaghasi, and I have, we're on episode 9. I always lose count of how many episodes I have done, but we're on episode 9, and I have two awesome people here that I am very excited to have here because I've learned before that the podcast already, before recording, I already learned a lot. I think I can go and work for you, Ronnie.
Good.
I'm kidding. No, I wouldn't do that. But we have Miss Kristi Hill from the Appraisal District, and you are the
Payer services
manager. So she's the one that takes our money.
No.
No.
No money.
No, but collect.
Exemption.
No.
Exemption. No, she's the one that gives us discounts. I got it wrong. So I didn't even learn that much.
So you remember I was talking about that?
I was already fired before I even applied for it. And then we have Mr. Ronnie Canales.
Right.
And he is the chief appraiser
For Nueces County.
for Nueces County. So this is definitely our best friend right here.
Every day.
So the reason why I wanted to invite them is because, as you know, when you buy a property, we get very lucky and then we start paying property taxes. And so they're going to explain to us, one of the questions that I get all the time is like, when can we file for homestead? What is homestead? How much discount do I get? What about disability? So there's different type of exemptions that you might qualify for when you actually are buying a house. And then the other portion of it is why my taxes go up or why my taxes go down. So Ronnie here is going to explain to us what can we do or what should we do and what is the process when that happens. So we're going to start with, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the value?
We can start with the cycle, the way it works.
Okay, let's start with the cycle.
Everything, Claudia, been in the business for many years. As your tax assessor collector, now your chief appraiser in 2012 coming forward. And thank you for allowing us to come here because I feel that the more we educate people as to the process that we do, it's better for the taxpayer, but it's also better for us.
Absolutely.
Because many times, our cycle is year round. During the months of, from January 1st, if you own your property on January 1st, between January and April, you can come in and apply for your exemptions.
Okay.
Whether it be a homestead, disabled person, disabled veteran, whatever exemption you might qualify for. Kristi Hill's department is our exemptions department. She's the one who's in charge and oversees about 20 plus employees there that do this every day.
Okay.
Monday through Friday. All people ask for is correct information. When you come into the office, some people get upset, whether it's an attorney or whether it's do you know who I am kind of type of person. Well, first thing is, if you're going to apply for an exemption, your driver's license has to match. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kristi.
That's correct.
Has to match that physical address of that property you're applying for. If that driver's license is not changed,
don't even go in.
Well, you can come in and you're going to be told this is what you need to do.
Right.
And, many times people get upset.
Yeah.
But then, like I tell them, I said, it's not Ronnie Canales' rule. So you need to talk to a person by the name of Todd Hunter, Herrero. I said, and of course your state senator, Chuy Hinojosa. These are the ones who set the law. We implement law.
Right.
Okay? And that's what we do. During the months of January, our reappraisal time starts. And it starts towards the end of the year and the beginning of the year. And in the first week, second week of April, that's when we mail out reappraisal notices. Reappraisal notices are what goes out to all taxpayers, all property owners, put it to you that way. And it'll have a value, whether it's an increased value, a value remain the same, but there was a change on the property. Could have been a name, an address change. But what it does, we mail everything out because it serves us a purpose. It serves us a purpose of making sure we have the correct information on there, cleans out the system. Then
let me ask you one thing there. So when you send, before you send the values, you said that you start going, and I guess I'm assuming sending out appraisers to look at the properties in the beginning, at the end of the year.
Right.
Like
So
towards that.
right now, at the end of this year, they're in the process of finishing up all building permits.
Okay.
They're also, see, at the beginning of the year, we had a lot of properties that were material on ground, MOGs,
Right.
8% complete for
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
for this year, okay? Well, those are checked at the end of the year. Let's say you're the property owner on January 1st. Kristi's house burns down on January 2nd. You're gonna come into our office and say, wait a minute, you know,
It burned out.
my burned down, I'm not gonna pay taxes. Well, the thing is, it will. You will have to pay taxes for that year. It'll be looked at for the following year. And that's for all properties. It's
Right,
not
right,
just-
right.
It's not just an exempted property.
Does the people expect, or what's the expectation? Like, should they expect to be called by the appraisers, or do you guys just go and do like an outside appraisal? Do you guys go into the houses, or do you guys have like
Many times we do various things. You mentioned three of them. The fourth one is we have pictometry.
okay, so it's like a system where
Pictometry is a camera that flies over. It's a flyover by
oh
plane.
okay,
Takes pictures of areas.
uh-huh,
I can tell you if you come into my office and say, "Oh, Ronnie, we just built a house, or we just made an addition to the house." Well, sometimes people look a little bit different in how they're telling you these things. Same thing happens when they bring us pictures. Sometimes two things happen. The ones that bring us pictures, sometimes we're leery of what their pictures are, because sometimes those pictures are not they're not the homeowner's pictures. See,
no, they don't do
No, of
that.
course not. No, but you know, when I took over in January 2012, see, a lot of those things would stay on the system. So they were getting all these discounts year after year after year, even though it might have been done already.
Right.
Okay.
So they just keep.
So now what we do after January 12th of when I first started in 13, we started cleaning that system. In other words, all discounts come off. And we
And you
ask
start-
you, if
you
you still
start
have
all
your
over
issue,
again. Right.
and you come into the office, you know, to let us know that you've got these issues. Okay, I ask you, well then, get me a, what do you call it, a contractor to give you an estimate as to what's gonna cost you to fix what problems you have, interior, exterior, okay?
And then you base it on that, what,
And then
the
those
discount that you're
yes,
gonna
and
do.
then those discounts are in there, so it stays,
I
okay?
see.
And then we will also make physical inspections. You also asked, well, how do we do? What do we do? Well, we physically go out door to door. By law, we can come in and measure from the outside. Okay? We can measure. We can
Right,
open
right,
the
right,
fence,
right.
make sure there's no dogs out there, and then walk in, and especially
So have you ever gotten bitten by a dog or
many years ago. And
really?
it's the little dogs that you need to be
Oh,
concerned about, not the big dogs. The
because those
little-
are the ones that think they're big dogs.
Oh, they
Yeah,
come and
yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
snipe at you.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, over years things have changed. Okay, a lot of laws have come into play to where it benefits the taxpayer, but it also benefits the appraisal district.
Right.
Okay, and all we ask, you know, we ask the taxpayer, bring us as much facts as you have to tell us why it's not what it is. In other words, don't come into the office like I was telling you earlier,
Yeah.
and you know we got 250,000, and you come in and you argue with us and say, well, no, my property's not worth that much. Well, how much is it worth? What do you have to tell me? Well, no, it's just not worth. I bought it 10 years ago, and I only paid 100,000. Well, between the time you bought it and today,
It raised.
values in the
the value
neighborhood
went
and the
up.
areas have gone up, just like everything else. But you know, there's a lot of benefits to being honest, transparent, and since I've been there, we've made a lot of changes. A lot of changes, Claudia, to the fact that it benefits the taxpayer. A lot of people might think that we're in the business to raise your taxes. I need to be very clear. We don't raise and we don't collect taxes. All we're concerned about are exemptions. Make sure that
The
legal-
value is right.
well, the value is right, but the right legal description is correct on the property. See, we've got 86 employees.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we have 86 employees, and they're diversified. We have the exemptions department. They deal with all the exemptions, all
Hmm.
different types, and they got to verify. They will ask you a lot of questions, doctors, whatever, and Kristi can elaborate into that. Then you have real estate department. That's where most of your residential properties will come through.
Go in.
And then you have commercial property department. Commercial property takes in all your hotel, motels, commercial strip centers, building like you're in today,
Mhm.
and farmland, ranch land, ag land, etc. Okay, that's
Which
commercial,
is different, yeah.
right? And then you have personal property.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, see, that was the other change that I made when I came in 2012, is that I look at values per department. Between real estate and commercial, they're pretty much about the same, but commercial based on all this is normally a little bit higher.
higher.
And then personal property is way low. And we started figuring out what's the deal. Well, personal property owners, business owners, they render property. And for years we had a doctor, okay, that he would render 20,000.
Mm.
Okay. So we take your word for it because that's what you do, right? So then we started.
We're not gonna say the name of the doctor, but
No, I didn't. Because he called one of the commissioners, and my department head at that time was Ms. Norma Baez. So she called, and it's a funny story, but it happens with what we do. And she called me and said, Ronnie, one of the commissioners is going to call you. So what happened? Well, two of the guys went to the doctor's office, and they introduced themselves. They gave the business card, spoke to the office manager, and they needed to get a tour of what's in there. Okay. Well, that $20,000
came out to
came out to almost $700,000.
yeah.
Okay. Why is that? Because there's different equipment that's in there that we didn't have access to.
Right.
Okay. Pero, what we ask is, well, if it belongs to you, okay, then that's you. But if it doesn't, tell us.
Then it's a lease,
Yeah,
and then it
it
doesn't.
belongs to Kristi Hill. Then that assessment on that piece of material, whether it's a
You get the discount.
you're right, no, you don't get the discount. That value will go straight to Kristi Hill.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
because
So then
I'm
somebody
leasing-
else.
I'm the
Oh,
lease-
because you're the
I'm the
one.
leasing
She's on
Oh.
invest, and it's in the office, right?
But somebody has to pay.
Yes, and it'll be her. But if you don't give us that name, guess who gets to pay?
You.
That owner does.
Oh.
So when the commissioner called, he said, Ronnie, I got a problem. A friend of mine called me and he was all upset because this and this. I said, yeah, I know who it is. I said, I got a call from Miss Norma, and she alerted to the fact that you were going to call, which you did. I said, but let me explain to you what happened. Your friend said for over the last few years has only been rendering 20,000. And we found close to $700,000 in value.
So what did the commissioner say?
Oh, well, he backpacked. And I
Oh.
said, but it's something that so long as you don't say anything, you're not going to do anything. But if it's something that we're doing now, and I said, and this was the direction from our new department head,
Right.
because I made a lot of changes in the office to accommodate what each one needed to do.
Right.
So she said, no, sir. I said, Norma, I said, what is it that you can do? She said, well, we're going to make physical inspections aside from a rendition form.
So that you can make sure that it's correct, and
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
and that's where the honesty
Mhm.
comes in. I
Right.
mean, you just have
And,
to.
and then they would make the appointment with that person
Yeah.
to say, you rendered this, but this is how much we found in there.
Right.
Okay. So then there's a meeting coming
Right.
to Jesus type meeting.
So when you send all the those advices to like the new value, or if the
Mhm.
value is gonna stay the same, you send them. You said between April and June.
No, between April, the first week,
Uh-huh.
at the late second week, that's when about 170,000 reappraisal notices go out.
Go out. Okay. So
Mhm.
what is the window that the taxpayer has to go and appeal
They
that
can-
value?
Claudia, they can call before April.
Okay.
Anybody can call us during the time before
Okay.
April if they're concerned about, do I have my exemption on my property? Is my legal description is correct?
Correct.
Your legal description, for most people that don't know, lot and block and
Yes.
subdivision.
Uh-huh.
And then to explain to you on what improvements are on your reappraisal notice, you have land and improvements.
And improvements.
Well, the improvements is nothing that you painted.
No.
No.
Uh-huh.
The improvements is telling us that there is a structure on land.
Right.
Okay.
So
But
people
you'd be
come and say,
surprised.
I didn't put new floors.
But you see, so we'll go back to where it started. So we go out there and physically measure if we have to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we correlate a lot of the work we do in the city by building permits, whether it's a brand new property or an addition to the property.
Or
And we're-
older.
Or older, because everything that's in the city of Corpus Christi, you got to get a building permit for. Okay.
Right.
So if you
If
try,
they do.
if you try and circumvent,
Supposed to.
yes, if you try and circumvent, we make those physical inspections. And
So
then-
that you can go and see if there's
right,
anything.
and then if we have a problem going in, then like I told you about pictometry,
Mm-hmm.
we have a flyover, and then we can go back 5 years on overlay maps to see which structure was
What
there.
they
So-
did, right.
So if you're telling me, well, I just finished doing it this year, and then we take your word for it, but then you kind of check it out for me. So then one of the girls upstairs in GIS, she'll pull the deal and says, Ronnie, this is this structure that's been added on.
Oh,
Been added
wow.
on for the last 4 or 5 years.
So
See,
pretty
and-
much you're telling me it's very hard to lie to you.
Many times.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Don't
just-
try it,
no,
friend.
no, Claudia, but we'll work with you. Just,
Yeah.
give us the information, especially out
To
in the
know
rural
more,
area.
right.
In the rural area, we because you don't have access to opening a lot of the ranch
Everything,
gates
right.
and stuff like that. So if one or two things happen, we'll set up an appointment to go and meet with that person. Same thing, residential properties. If for some reason or other you have a problem, like your foundation has a problem, so that creates sheetrock,
Right,
inside
Yeah.
the house. Well, we don't see that because we're
Right.
outside.
So you have to
But-
go and see it.
But we will make the appointment, and somebody has to be there. We just don't go unlock
Open
the
it,
door
right.
and walk inside. No, we don't do that.
Okay.
And staff will not do that.
Now, how would you compare your appraised value with, like, let's say when they're going through the mortgage process and they do an appraisal? So how accurate or how comparable will you say it is? Because I can tell you, like, for example, for a mortgage standpoint, our appraisals are like the sales. We look at the sales around the area.
Mhm.
It has to be within a mile. It has to be within the last 6 months, and then kind of like you assess the value on the property like that. So how comparable will you say that is to what you guys do?
It used to be to where we would rely on developers, sometimes real estate agents, sometimes most of the time it's the taxpayer.
Okay.
Who'll come in and tell us because they have a high value, well, what you pay for?
Okay.
And then they'll tell us, well, we paid this much. Okay, well, then we can make the adjustment. And many times I will tell anybody and their mother, I said, before you come to our office and you're questioning the value, check to see what's on the website first. Let's say you go and buy the property and you paid $150,000. We got 120. Two things. Look at the website. If it's at 120, you pay 150. Are you going to bring it to my attention?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
See, but eventually we'll get to that point. All right. And then for any property that is homesteaded as of today, you're capped at 10%. Need to be very clear on that. In other words, your property value, homesteaded value, goes up 50% from 1 year to the other. Okay? Yes.
Oh, you can?
Oh, yeah.
The market value can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the market value,
Yeah,
but
it-
not for the tax purposes.
Well, no, because see, that's going to be capped at 10%. It went
Oh,
up 50, but for that year, you're only going to get taxed on
tax
that 10%.
on the
increase.
10%.
That's it. The following year, it'll be looked at again to try and capture
Another
the
10%.
Another 10%. Because maybe like right now, you're looking at the market from last year and the year before, the
Oh.
market was up here. So now you're looking at the market today because interest rates through mortgages,
Right,
that's what creates your stability is your mortgage rates.
right.
All right. A couple of years ago, you could buy a house, 30 years, 2.5%, depending on your credit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Makes a big difference. Today, that 2.5 could be 4.5% to 7%.
Now I'm gonna hire you. Like he's talking rates.
But we look at those things too.
So this is very important information. So remember this. So from 1 year to another year, there's a cap of 10%. So the value of your property for tax purposes,
Homesteaded property.
homestead
only.
property. So not investment property. Investors over there, they were getting excited already.
Very
No, this
good.
is just for homestead people.
Right now,
Okay.
I will tell you this. Remember, we just enforce laws.
Right.
Implement the laws that come from where?
From Todd Hunter and
It comes from
Ava.
Austin. From Austin.
We love Todd Hunters.
Of course. I've known Todd for years. The thing is, we have to abide by those.
Right.
See, and these guys are funny too. Whenever it's a great benefit, they want to make sure their names are on the bottom.
And when it's not,
And when
they're
it's
like,
not, who did
yeah.
that? I mean, that's part of the game. that they play.
Right.
But legislation is looking into. It's not done yet. There's a lot of laws that are going to be coming into play, to where your additional properties. What
Mm-hmm.
did you call them? Your investment
Investment property.
properties. Like you have your homestead, you've got 4 other properties.
Right. For
Right,
rental
those
or.
4, yes, those are the 4 properties. They'll go up 50, 60, 70% from 1 year to the other. Well, that's what you're paying on. There's
Mm-hmm.
no caps there.
No.
Well, they're thinking that they might put a cap on those properties
Okay.
as well.
So it's not in place, but they're looking into it.
There's a lot of things that they're looking into.
Okay.
See, and we're afraid of it because every legislation they come up with all kinds of stuff. Sometimes it's good.
Sometimes it's
it's
not
bad.
so good.
Right.
So how the window? So for appeals, is there a limit, or you can go all year around appealing the house,
There's
or
a
is
limit.
there?
Normally it's between the months of April through July.
Okay, so
Okay.
April to July is when you can do your appeals.
Right.
And what he was saying, just bring factual information.
Mhm.
So don't just show up and say, I don't think my property is worth that much, because that's not gonna
Right.
work.
And normally, and I want to cut you off, Claudia. We advise you to have an informal hearing. An informal hearing means you're gonna go talk to an appraiser.
Okay, they're at your office.
office, yes.
Okay, do they
And-
need to make an appointment for that?
They can walk in. Most
Okay.
of the time they walk in and then we can assign them.
Okay.
And if they're busy, then they'll be given a time.
Okay,
But to meet with the appraiser, not the ARB, the
okay,
appraisal review board, okay?
okay.
Now, if you cannot work it out
With them.
with the appraiser, then we'll set you up to come before the appraisal review
Okay,
board.
so you have two steps there. So you can walk into the office, go and try to appeal the value directly with the appraiser.
Mhm.
And if not, then it's a more formal appraisal board review
The appraisal
board.
review board, the
Review
ARB.
board.
And that's where normally what happens, you go, the appraisal district is there, you have a panel. Sometimes it's a panel of 4 or 3, one of the 2. I think it's 3. There are 4 panels, okay, and they're broken out. And then you're assigned, they're gonna be panel A, panel B, C, and D. Then you go there, you get about 15, 20 minutes or less to present
Make your case.
And then the appraisal district goes, or one or the other goes first. And then the other one rebuts the other one. And then that panel will decide whether it stays the same or it comes down or.
Or what's gonna
or
happen.
That's gonna happen.
Does current market analysis from realtors help the taxpayers?
Sometimes it does because sometimes, and we're not actually on a full 100% market value.
Okay, right,
Okay.
right.
See, normally if
You're
it's-
normally below market value a
Really?
little bit.
I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Don't
Getting
okay,
closer,
okay,
though, right?
don't make me make it
Yeah.
worse for them.
No.
But you,
No,
I
normally-
always tell my people, I'm like, it's always it's a little it's
In the past, it really has been, but I
Right.
think the gap is
Is
it's
closing.
closing.
Right. See, we used to be, just so you know, from what we know, it used to be that once a property was listed and then they showed our books, there was about a 30-35% difference. On the upside.
I would say right now like about 10%.
No, that was what I was saying
Back then.
back then. And that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
Kristi's telling you
It's
it's
getting
not closer
closer.
now. But now we have access to sales through third-party vendors, which by law we can do. We don't go through the multiple listing book.
Right.
Okay, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Why we don't do that? You know, it's ludicrous because what it does, it helps the taxpayer. It also helps the office.
Right.
Okay, you get a lot better, truer value
Yeah.
of what everything is, rather than to sometimes the word is not guesstimate, but base it on other things that people brought you for that.
Right,
okay?
that you can actually base it on
Right,
facts
so what we
too.
do during that month, between April and July, we listen to the taxpayer, okay? And this year, we saw a total of almost 28,000 people
Oh, wow.
with accounts in the office.
So that's like your tax season for accountants in April. April to July is when you see all these people, like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, when people file their taxes is in like April.
They
and
come in and they'll line up, and some people might not like what happened to them, okay, because they didn't get what they wanted, but they appreciated the fact.
that they
One,
listen, you
that
listen
they
to them.
listened, and two, they were transparent, and three, they showed them why it went on the
Okay.
upside. All we ask you is bring us information, we'll dissect it, and we can go from there.
But just remember to bring actual factual, like paper, like pictures that are real from your house. Like, you know, like maybe the CMA, which is a current market analysis. If you're a realtor that help you buy that house, they can help you with that.
They'll give you an idea.
Your lender can actually help you because we have realtors that we can work with to ask them for a favor and run one of those reports so that you can have more stuff to show them.
Right, see, and at the end of July 25th,
Oh yeah, this is the exciting part. This
Yes.
is a part of the process that we were waiting for.
see, on July 25th, that's when the roll is certified,
Mm-hmm.
not by
And then
us.
that's it.
Not by us.
No.
Done by the Appraisal Review Board.
Uh-huh.
Because we turn that over to them, and then they, on July 25th, they turn it back over to us. We dissect everything to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. The following day, we start sending out what?
The bill.
No.
No.
We start sending out the values to all the entities.
Oh, okay.
The certified value.
The certified values, like let's say the certified value to the city, to the county, to your 13 school districts, to Del Mar, and wherever else we left.
So they can see how much money they're gonna get.
Well, you know, so they can see what kind of tax rate they're gonna have to adopt to make their budget.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So
And-
listen
and-
to this one because this is very important. It's
See-
not the appraisal district's fault.
No, and again, I'll repeat it. We don't raise your taxes. We don't lower your taxes. We don't collect your taxes.
Right.
Okay, Kevin
You're
doesn't collect
just
it.
like Kevin
And
is
Kevin does the same thing. He doesn't raise your taxes.
right. He just gets the money.
collects,
Right. He
like I
just
used to
collects
do
the
the
money.
same thing.
Right.
So what I ask you to do is this: you're not done with us. Once you're done, you say, okay, well, I'll just wait for my bill in October.
Right.
Then in October, you're calling back me, our office. Why are my taxes so high? Well, because see, you're not done when you leave our office. You still got to wait for the city, 13 school districts, wherever you might be in the county, as to when they start setting a tax rate. I'll repeat that. When they start setting a tax rate, that tax rate is going to affect what taxes you will pay.
So the tax rate is the rate that you pay for the value. So that's how much they're gonna charge you. So that's why it's important to remember
Yes. To go to the meeting.
to the council.
When the council, the commissioners, Del Mar, the school boards, when they get ready to start setting the tax rate, that's when you need to be present.
So that's when people have to go and actually listen because that's actually very important, Ronnie, because people, you know, I don't want to say it's like they like ignorance, but like a lot of times, like I'm telling you're telling me stuff that, you know, probably Moses is going to be mad at me because he's going to be like, you knew that. And I'm going to be like, no, I didn't. Because I'm like, I don't worry about paying the tax. Like he pays the taxes. So
Right.
you know, but it's very important because just a normal citizen,
Right.
you know, I mean, you don't know really. I mean, you buy a house, they barely know the process of buying the house. And then the implications of buying the house and the taxes. And well, how do I do that? I mean, you know, this is very important information for them to know.
See, because about a month ago, when were we in the island?
About a month ago.
About a month ago, we were in Padre Island, and we went there to the title company with some of the realtors from the island. But, you know, like I tell them, I said, what you guys need to understand is you don't have the correct information. You might think you do, and then you tell that person, this is what it is, and then you come to our office, and then you start arguing with us.
Yeah. And
Well,
it's
the
like,
thing is, we need to all be on the same page.
right.
My only recommendation or suggestion to you and to all other title companies is, look, don't give them the correct answers. Just tell them, why don't you just go to the appraisal district, call Mr. Canales, and he can direct you as to who you need to talk to make sure you get your correct information.
I don't want to call telling me you have a lot of calls then after you just said this right now on my show.
No,
Because
I'm
then
saying-
everybody's going to be like, oh, Claudia said there to call Ronnie Canales. And then Ronnie's going to call me and say, why are you sending me everybody over here?
Claudia, man, I've been in the business for many years. I think everybody, and I keep saying, in fact, I was talking to somebody else the other day. I gave him my cell number. Everybody has my
Yeah.
cell number. And I answered, all you can do is try and help. And if you can't, you tell them, you know what, let me call you back. Let me see what I can do. Because for me, or my assistant chief, which is Don Causey, he and I do not get involved on the values.
Right.
We let the staff do what needs to
Do
get
it.
done. Now, if there's a concern that it's up here and it's coming all the way down there, then yes, they will come over here and ask.
You're just going to guide them to like what
Yeah,
path
because
to
see, that's what
follow.
they do every day.
Okay.
All right?
Right.
Whether it be commercial, residential, personal
Or
property,
personal property.
or even with the exemptions.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised some of the exemptions that people
Well,
try and get.
I'm gonna bring because he was right when I told him it was like a 25-minute episode. He was like, "Oh, that's gonna go fast." He took the whole time, Kristi. He
That's
didn't let
okay.
you talk.
He did very well.
Yeah, no, he like it
He's
was a
wealth
lot of information. Oh, I
Yes, he
know. I
is.
should have had done
Yes.
part 1 and part 2 of
Mhm.
Ronnie Canales
See,
in
and then,
that.
and then the most important part is that as a taxpayer, you need to understand a few things. In order for your taxes to be on the lower side, and I think you know where I'm going, you need to make sure that everybody else pays their fair share.
Okay,
What do I
what do
mean
you
by that?
mean?
Well, you got some refineries here in town that seem to think that they don't need to pay their fair share. So because they're not paying their fair share, guess
You
what?
had to pay them.
It passes on.
Because see, if they were to pay their fair share, Claudia, your tax rate would be a lot less than what it is today. Okay? We're still in litigation with one of our big refineries here. But you need to understand too, yes, they provide jobs for us. They
So
do.
where would a taxpayer go and find that also at city council, the meetings?
Which one?
Like let's say to make sure that other big companies are paying what they're supposed to be paying. I mean, how would people get involved on that?
They get involved when there's a lawsuit filed and then there's a court.
They would do.
And then at the court, then they listen to the facts that are there. But most of the time, these big companies, I might have one attorney, they got 10. I might have one accountant, they got
It's
30.
like, you're not gonna win.
You know, and no, and what it is, they know we don't have monies because the monies are coming from the entities.
Yeah.
And they know that, hey, I give you 100,000, to one of the areas here because it's a donation from my company. Well, yeah, that's 100,000, but imagine.
But how much
much
taxes
more.
you
Yeah, you
will
could pay
have
in
to pay,
taxes.
right?
See, and the values have gone up, considerably because things have gone up too.
Right.
I cannot, we're not idiots, okay? So when they tell you, now let's say we put a value of 1 billion plus. Oh, no. That's not, no, we don't believe in that. We don't need a 1 in front of the number. It's a billion. Okay? So they're saying, no, it's only 500 million. Really? When you got a structure that's there, that's worth $1 billion plus,
Yeah.
and now you're telling me, well, then let me listen to the taxpayer over here that has those issues, and I do lower it to that number because it's there. But in
Right.
your case,
It's
well,
like,
yeah,
no.
but you need to understand that we do a lot for the community, and I said, yeah, I understand that too, but you're not paying your fair share.
Right.
The best thing you can do is try and pay your fair share. Let's try and be fair as far as value
So
is
that
concerned.
everybody.
So that
can-
everybody, your school district, your city council, your county commissioners, they can apply, and junior college can apply a lower tax rate based on the values that are here.
they're getting from
Now,
the-
if you are worth really 535 million or 560 million, would you be interested in selling it to us? What do you think they're going to tell you?
no.
No.
Absolutely not. No.
Then the value goes up, Ronnie, right there.
Yeah.
So, let me jump with Kristi really fast about the exemption.
Mm-hmm.
So, homestead exemption. I was in the belief, and I've been doing this for 15 years. So, I've always told my, the buyers like you have to wait until January 1st to file your exemption. I heard that changed.
It did change in that it's always been the January 1 owner was eligible to file. But now, if the property that you're purchasing did not have a homestead from the previous owner,
Oh, okay.
you can file after January 1. It's prorated on for that first year.
Okay.
Okay?
So can you file before January 1st? So let's say if I buy the house in November
Mhm.
or in June, let's say farther out. So
Mhm.
let's say I bought the house in June of 2022.
Yes.
Do I have to wait until January 1st or I can file in June?
You can file in June. You can file as soon as the property's in your name.
Okay.
So our records have to be, we have to have it in your
The
name.
warranty deed and all
once
that
your
has to be
name is
filed.
on the
Mhm.
property, we're able to file that exemption.
Okay, perfect. So that's a big, because I have always told, like, oh, you
And it
have to wait
always
until
has been the
January
January
1st.
1.
Okay.
And honestly, for the majority of people, it still is that way because
Right.
if you
It
buy
keeps-
a property that has a homestead on it from the previous
past year.
owner, you get their benefit through the remainder of that year.
Okay. Over 65, disabilities, I don't know. I know that there's a lot of exemptions and it would just take us a long time to list them all, but all the other exemptions, as soon as you're owner, you can go and apply for them.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about also for all of those that call me or tell me, oh, I got a letter and they're charging me $25.
Okay. It does not cost you anything to file for your homestead.
Listen up.
So these letters, we are asked about them all the time. And unfortunately, many times the folks have already sent the check.
yes.
And, I'm like,
See, it's a free for a taxpayer. It's and we've had issues. Certain gentleman came to the office. What he was doing, he was going door to door. And if you can fill this out, because I found out you don't have an exemption, then he
Oh,
wants
wow.
us to give him the refund, and then he'll disperse the refund to the taxpayer, their portion of
Oh, wow.
it. And I said, no.
So it's like,
No, because it used to do this. It's a business that's coming out of Dallas. Used to do it when I was tax assessor collector. And I said, no. I said, if I'm going to give a refund, I
It's
give it
gonna
to the
go directly-
taxpayer first. And then if that taxpayer wants to give you that $25, $50, then it's between you two, not between us.
right.
My responsibility is to, first, the taxpayer.
Do it.
And this is what this guy was doing. Paper was not even notarized. I said, no.
So
Well,
you don't have to pay, it's free. What's the
Yeah.
best way for them to file the exemption? Online, by mail, in person?
all three of those
Are good.
Good. And if you have any questions, our staff are very knowledgeable. They're very courteous. Please either call or come in the office. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. There will be someone there to help you. And like a lot of times folks won't have a copy of their driver's license. If they'll come into the office, we can
You make the
for
copy.
it
Right.
Okay.
there.
And the requirements to file the exemption for homestead is just your driver license. Do they need like a phone bill or a gas bill or electric bill?
We don't unless you're getting into an area what we
It's
call
great.
air properties.
Okay.
Okay, and they, within the last couple of years, last legislature, when they met, they now are allowing an heir owner to a property to file for exemptions if their main name may not be on the property, but if they can show that they're an heir to this property.
Okay. I see what
Those
you
are the
mean.
ones that have to have
Like
a
electricity
utility
bill or utility
yes,
bill.
and they're
Okay.
now showing that yes, they do live there.
So if your situation is kind of like unique, just make that call and just
Right.
ask what you're gonna need.
That's just to
How
call.
much discount do you get with the homestead, more or less? I know that there's like, I don't know if it's like a percentage or
Well,
is it a dollar amount or
The county, I mean, each of the entities
It's
give
different.
different.
so can you do like a ballpark of like total, like, I mean, we normally say like about 15% or what would you say?
Well, okay,
20%.
Probably about 20%.
20%.
overall.
So basically what that means, guys, is that if, let's say you have a $200,000 value property and you go and that's your homestead exemption, they're not going to tax you on $40,000 of that value, correct?
Right.
So that's less taxes that you're going to pay per year. I've seen it. I mean, I was just telling you before we started, literally, like, sometimes they come and refinance and they own the property for like 5 years and they never filed a homestead exemption. And then you tell them and they're like, I don't know what that is. Like, I mean, they have no like idea of what it is. So
See, and sometimes it's program where we will send you letters to
Mhm.
reapply, only
Oh.
to make sure that everything is still the
that
same.
you're still the
And
same.
yes, and we are in the process right now of mass updating these old applications. So
Oh,
a lot
okay.
of people are getting these letters from our office asking them to update the information. And we've had calls, some people are fearful thinking this is a scam. If you have any questions, please call. But yes, we are.
So the letters are
updating.
coming from the appraisal
Yes.
district.
Right. Yes.
Also, this is very important information too. I'm so glad I actually brought you guys.
And
She
the
was
reason
I'm not gonna charge you for this, but this is like an ad right here. So there's some letters going out right now because they need to update their systems to make sure that everything is still. Sometimes you move or you.
Right.
Well, and we're catching, because a lot of it didn't require a driver's license
Right.
way back then. And we're catching a lot of the folks that have turned 65 and never.
And they don't know about the
No, they
over
don't know to
65.
file. So
It's
it's a
that's
work in
enough.
process.
The 65, is it true that it's 65,000 that you don't tax? No.
No.
What is he?
No,
That's what I heard.
The 65,000.
The
Oh,
exemption.
the 65 over
value.
65
Yes.
exception is 65,000.
It's
65 or 70.
Well-
It depends on your district.
Okay.
CCISD, I believe, is 62,500. So that's probably what you're getting at.
See, what we can do is that we have a paper with all the entities,
Oh, cool.
okay? Then it gives you all of the exemptions with a value.
Okay.
If it's homestead over 65.
Is that something that we can put online or?
It's actually
No.
on the tax office. I think it's on
Yeah.
the tax office.
Oh,
website.
okay. So we'll get that and we'll
See,
make
because
sure that
what it
we.
is, on the bottom, it's gonna say, like, let's say you're in the city of Corpus, but you're in CCISD, you're in Del Mar.
And then you just pick where, like the
and
ones
then-
that fit.
Well, yep, when you look at that, then it'll give you a total tax rate
I see.
when those are combined.
Right.
Like, let's say the city, Del Mar, but you're in Flower Bluff, so it's Flower Bluff ISD.
Right.
Or let's say it's City of Port Aransas ISD, the county. Each one has county.
Right.
And on the bottom, it'll tell you what that total tax rate
What
will be
what it
for
will be.
those areas that you're in.
So these will help you more or less calculate or know exactly what you're paying or break down what you're paying on your taxes.
Right. See,
Right.
and it helps you, especially when the over 65 person, going back to that, it used to be that if you were 65, you'd have to wait to get it on that birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can get it on January 1st. If your birthday's in October.
The year
Yeah.
of the really? I didn't know that. That's a new one too.
See,
So you
because-
don't have to wait until you're 65 on your birthday. You can do it the year of that you
year.
turn
Exactly.
65.
Like, let's say your birthday turns in November, December.
You can do it
Your
since
bills go out
January.
in October. So your bills that go out in October are without the over
Right.
65. So then what you do then, you come back to the office back then, and then
And you do
apply
it.
for the over 65. Then you have to send it back to the tax office to resend you a new tax bill
The tax.
with your over 65 exemption.
So, well, that's really good information too, because that helps. I mean, everything that's part of your mortgage payment, if you
Mhm.
still have a mortgage payment, and if you're only paying tax, I mean, who doesn't want savings? So,
Right.
well, guys, this has been very, very informative,
Mhm.
and I appreciate you guys being here. I'll probably invite you again if then I get calls after this
Sure. And not-
from Todd
no.
Hunter.
From Ronnie's friends.
Yeah, tell Todd I said
Yeah.
No.
Uh,
No, it's like I said, anytime that, for me, it's not easy to do this because we try an education.
Mhm.
The more educated you are, meaning in the work that we do, the better off we are.
yes,
See,
absolutely.
because it helps, you'd be surprised.
Mhm.
Claudia, there's a lot of stuff that comes into the office. Sometimes there's stories. in
So
person-
what? Tell us. Let's end with a good story. Tell us a good story that is gonna make me laugh because they laugh at me when I do these things and I laugh out loud. They're like,
Right.
okay, I'm always
We
laughing out
had
loud.
the guy's about, Ventura's, how tall are you? Yeah, he's about 6'4", 6'5", burly guy. He's a 18-wheeler kind of guy,
Mhm.
right? And he comes in to personal property, and he's talking to one of our appraisers. She's about this tall. She's about maybe 4'1", maybe that much, but she's a fighter. Poor Stephanie. And anyway, so, she's come back and she's holding her ground, and the guy's been very adamant. He's been very, big guy, intimidated and everything else. And finally, they get towards the end. I'm sorry, sir, I can't help you. What does he do? He reaches in his hand, he gets his eye and he throws it on the ground, and it started rolling. And Stephanie's screaming like crap.
Oh my! It was a
Right?
fake eye.
It was a glass eye.
Oh no!
So he's laughing at her. She's going crazy because the eye is rolling on the ground. And he says, I guess we're even now. But yeah, we get
Oh
people
my
like that.
God!
I'm serious. They mean well, but he just thought it was
Now
funny.
I know where I'm gonna send cookies for Christmas. The appraisal district deserves cookies. No, but I really appreciate you guys coming
Sure.
and showing us. So we learned, April, July appeals, be factual, don't make up stuff. Honesty pays better than trying to make up stories.
Right.
Exemptions, anytime now, over 65, same year of your birthday. So any time on the year of your birthday. So I really appreciate you guys.
And we don't raise taxes.
And he does not raise taxes. The appraisal district doesn't raise taxes. You're gonna make me invite people that raise taxes for the next one. Then I'll tell you so you can watch it and see what they're gonna say. Ronnie makes us come and do this. So don't miss the next episode, which will be our season finale. You're almost at the end. I have one more.
Really?
And
Who's
I'm
gonna be
having actually a surprise, but not tomorrow. I'm going to tell you the secret.
Okay.
I'm going to have kids come in and talk about Christmas and Santa Claus
there?
and
Who's gonna be your Santa Claus? Different?
I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll surprise him with a Santa Claus. That would be a good
Happy the
idea.
clown?
Yeah, happy the clown. He actually did my one of my Christmas parties
crazy.
1 year. Oh, he's so funny. He makes me laugh a lot. He's
No,
funny.
I've known me for many years.
Yeah. He's famous. I mean, he's all over. He goes everywhere. No.
He is. He's done shows in Vegas.
Yes, he
He does.
has. I mean, we should be proud.
Mhm.
It's Corpus Christi,
Mhm.
famous people.
Mhm.
Well, thank you guys. We'll say bye.
Thank you.